Alright guys, and we are back for yet another Shujigata summon. So this time around we are taking a look at a green armored Zaku III Custom Twilight Access version. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna let you guys know that this is absolutely a fodder unit in this absolute every way possible. But I would kind of conclude to the fact that this unit as a tank may or may not be as terrible as I am gonna intentionally say it. But overall, man, when we take a look at the kids, I don't know, it looks so bad just on paper. Like, what is the purpose of this tank, so that's just kind of my question. Like, what is the purpose of this tank? I just don't know. All right, so let's kind of quickly get into this, because I feel like this is not even a unit that a lot of people may be interested into. But in terms of the EX skill, it's going to be a beam machine gun at level 5, because in terms of what we are looking at, so to one enemy unit 1154 attack damage. So in terms of all these armored units, they usually do have these high percentage to kind of make up for the fact that their flat attack stat are pretty bad, right? Because obviously for a tank, they have a higher HP or they have a higher defense, so their attack stat is obviously much lower. Besides that, to self recover 45% max HP as well, so that is a nice feature for a tank being able to heal, self regenerate. That's also going to be fairly good. In terms of the transcendent skill, these are typically things you would see as far as a latter half of the unit, because they have been much more standardized. They are not necessarily something that will redefine the character or the overall unit, so they're just kind of basic if you do look at it compared to some of the other ones that we have seen for global. They are like a whole paragraph to read. But in terms of this one, simply 3 effects. So when a battle begins, increase accuracy by 25% right off the bat, and then increase max HP by another 25%, and then recover 50% EX gauge, and that's pretty much it. So I think for this one specifically, like the first 2 skills, like it's meant more for like I guess like a tank. Sometimes instead of accuracy, you might see units that have, let's say, increased hit rate. Sometimes in terms of having a max XP, they might have an increased beam damage or projectile damage, whatever you name it. So this one chooses the more appropriate path for a tank, so that's actually pretty good. Moving down to the skill 1, we have when dealing damage, recover 2400 HP. So this is actually quite good. The fact that you're just simply attacking and you have that, so you are passively in a perfect world always going to be having some HP recovery, because if you are always hitting, you are going to be able to recover some HP, so that's pretty nice. And then for skill 2, we have unlocking the strong attack beam machine gun, and then on taking damage for 10 seconds, increase accuracy by 6%, stacking it up to 5 times. So in total, you are going to be able to rack up to 30% accuracy, so that's fairly good. And then when we do take a look at the weaponry, so for the main weapon, we have the beam machine gun. The attack count, I want you guys to focus on the attack count for this one, because this one will definitely scale really nicely with the skill 1. So it's when dealing damage, you recover 2400 HP, right? So this one is doing actually a lot of hits, so assuming that per every damage marker you are able to get that healing, that is going to be very effective. So it's not bad, the way that they have designed this one, I guess, in a way. So both of them, the main weapon and then the third weapon, is able to take advantage of that. So that is actually pretty nice. So as far as this tank, what kind of tank is this one? I feel like this is a tank just to kind of buy time for your squad. So let's say specifically if you are looking into arena, this unit would allow you to kind of stall out the match, so your enemy goes in the timer and they lose the match. This is, I think, simply what this unit is to tend to do. It's not necessarily things that you will have this unit die. This I feel like it's a tank that you want this tank to survive as long as possible, so you can just have your enemy just run out of time. That's simply how I feel like it is. So as far as you are talking about positioning for this unit, you might want to just put it, I don't know, on the opposite side of where your squad is, so they will have to chase them to this unit, and since this unit is constantly healing, that's going to be a problem for them. So I do feel like this is not necessarily the worst tank possible. It definitely does have a merit depending on how you want to play it. That's kind of a way that I thought of, but obviously I don't really have a way to try that out in global. So for those who are planning to max out this unit, definitely do give it a try to see could that even possibly work, right? So we got that. But overall, realistically speaking, this is just an awful tank, all right? There aren't necessarily a whole lot more of like a survivability kit for this unit. There's nothing. So I do worry how long of I do worry is longevity, right? So we have that. So as far as me, I'm still gonna stay true of like you don't really I wouldn't go for this unit because it's just kind of playing out bad in a way. So pilot, we have Danton. So let's kind of see what this unit has for us. What's the quote? I'm second to nobody. That's a nice quote, buddy. That's a nice quote. As far as the effects, we have a total of 4, 2 per each skill. So when the unit is green, when battle begins, increased accuracy. Oh, that's pretty good. And then when the unit category is armored on taking damage for 10 seconds, increase resistance by 7%, stacking up to 35%. So that's pretty good. And now let's go to when the mobile suit is category Zaku type. When battle begins, increase accuracy again. So from skill 1 to skill 2, a total of 20. And then if you include the actual units, we have another 30, stacking up to 30 from skill 2. And then from the transcendent skill, you have another 25. So you're talking roughly about a good 75% if my map is correct. So it's not bad. So your chances of actually missing is fairly slim if you have everything kind of proctored in a way. And then for the last description, when the unit is heavy armor, on taking damage for 10 seconds, increase beam or just resistance by 7%, stacking to 5 times. So another 35%. So a total of 70%. That is nice. That's good. It's basic, but it's fairly effective. That's the simplest way I'll put it. But I do feel like this is not too terrible for a just overall for green tank, because if you take out the Zaku type, you're still left with a lot of good incentive for this pilot. So I wouldn't necessarily kind of tell you guys to go out of the way to summon for it, because in general I feel like green tanks aren't necessarily a lot out there. I know the O is still yet to come for global, but when the O does come, maybe just summon for Shiroko instead, because he is definitely the more suitable pilot for the O. But other than that, if you're talking about some other green element tank, this will still be a really good option later down the road. So yeah, but overall, the pilot wise is decent. The unit itself, depending on how you want to play it, it could be good. But I think overall, just at plain sight, is just a fairly undertuned unit to be looking at. So that's just kind of my stance on it. So I will not recommend people to summon for it. But other than that, that's gonna be pretty much it for me, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one.